Hi friends, welcome to Ggc'sTreasureBag. Today we will design with Ggc'sTreasureBag. These are the 6mm frosted white bead strand that we got from Ggc'sTreasure Santa's Treasure. I know it's tongue twisting for me. Okay, this is the cord that I'm going to use. It's a Chinese knotting cord. It's a variegated color, and this is like more of the greens, browns, and the white. Perfect fall color, I would say. Since this is a white frosted bead, I want to use that multicolor cord, and I believe this is 0.8mm to 0.6. I'm not so sure, nothing is written here. It's been in my stash, so I'm using that. You can use 0.8mm as well. Only thing is it needs to go twice in this bead. That's the only thing you need to make sure of. And I have here one 4-feet cord and one 8-feet cord. I know it's a long thing, but I already made a bracelet, and I also took a video, which is this, with some jute or hemp cord, and then this bracelet became small. I really liked it, but I want to make it with this is more like eco-friendly, so I wanted to make the same bracelet with the Chinese knotting cord, and I don't want to run out of cord. That was like 6 feet and 2 feet, which was very less. So I have here some 4 feet of this cord that I cut, this one right here. You can use a single color as well, doesn't matter, but I'm using this multicolor one. I'm taking this 4 feet cord and folding into half. I'm sure that 3 feet should be more than sufficient for the core cord, and for the knotting cord I think 8 feet is ideal. So I take this cord, fold it into half, and get the center point or the middle. Both the cords middle is here. So what I'm going to do here is take my ruler, measure about say 4 inches. So I'm going to tie an overhand knot, and after the knot I want 4 inches of cord left. Okay, so here we go. So if I pull this now, yes, that's almost 4 inches. So when I tighten that up, that should be good. There we go, perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the macrame board. You can use a macrame board, you can use Naughty Do It All, you can use a beadle tying station, anything. If you don't have all of those, you can use just simple clipboard, would work fine for this project. I'm gonna take macrame cord and I'm gonna invert this because I think this is easier to see with less distractions, I would say. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take this, take my pins, you don't need a lot, but you do need some. So I'm going to hold this down. Okay, and then separate these cords. It's a big one, my let's find out which cord is longer, which cord is shorter. I think these two are the short ones and these two are the long ones. There we go. So these are the long ones, which is the 8 feet one, and the center one is the short one, which is the 4 feet one. So now take the center cord, and you also need a lighter. I want to melt the end of the center cord because that's the one I'm gonna crisscross the beads with. Okay, take a bead and crisscross the center cords with the bead. Okay, once you have that in place, now I'll just zoom in a bit more, right? Take these two cords. This is the cord that we crisscrossed with, right? This is the cord. Take a pin, okay, and I would say to hold this right there. Would like to put a pin on that, and then take this cord. This is the one which is coming out of the bead. This is the one which is a long cord. So we are going to work with only the right first. The left we will come back to it later. So I will go ahead and secure that up. Now this is the short, this is the long cord. Short and long. The long is my right. Go on top of the short cord. Okay. Top, underneath, and pull through. Okay, that's 1/2 inch knot. See how this is twisting? That's the part I want you to be careful. Then we went up. Now we are going under this cord and through that loop on top. So take that cord and this is the end. It's pretty long, so I take the end, go on top through that loop and pull that cord. See how the 6 is formed? Now we have 1 knot right next to it. I would suggest put a pin on that. Okay, over, under, pull through, then under, over, and pull through. It's also a lockset knot. Over, under, and pull through, under, over, and pull through, over, under, and pull through. So the number of knots between this depends upon you. I would say I am going to go ahead and do only 4 knots on this side. Now I'll come to this side. Okay, now take that. See how it's nicely pushed out there. So if I take this up, now take this cord. We are going to work with the left hand cords. So this is the center one of the left. This is a small, this one is a big. So I take the big one, go on top of the short, and then underneath and through that loop that I created. See that? Now pull it. Then under the short cord through that loop, just like that, and then pull that. That's our first knot. Over, under, and pull through, under, over, and pull through. Okay, over, under the loop, under the cord, through the loop, and pulling through. Under, over, through that loop, and pull through. Over, I like to fold the cord so that it's not like a long one that I'm pulling through. Over, under, and pull through. Under, over, and pull through. Once you have 4 knots in place, now is the time to add the next bead. Take the center cords and crisscross the cords through the bead. That's my right hand cord. I take my left hand cord, go from the opposite direction, and then crisscross. See how that's formed? This is what we want. Now again we will continue doing the same. Over, under, over, under, over, under. I mean, we are going to do locksett knot or half hitch knots with these 2 cords. And since this is variegated color, the colors will keep on changing. So once you have that going, the number of knots here also depends upon you. You can do 5 knots. I have done 4 knots in between these things, but you can do 5 knots as well. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is take this cord again. I'm going to work only with the right hand cord. So just making sure that this one is nice and tight. So if you want, you can actually pin it here as well, so that it's nice and tight for you, and then continue as we go. So here we go. Take this over, under, and through this loop, right? Under, over, and through this loop. When you do this, making sure everything is nice and tight. And also I am going to do the first cord on my left here as well, so that this bead doesn't go or tilt on one side, so that we have our knots right. So 1 knot on the right and 1 knot on the left will do that trick, in my opinion. So all you can do is pin it right there, so that way it will stay in place. Okay, now you can work either the right or the left. 4 knots is all I'm doing. That was 2. Three. And 4. Here we have done already 1. So 2, and that's 2. This is the third locksett knot If you're counting this as half hitch, then you will do 8 half hitch or 4 double half hitch. Once you're done with that, take your bead and crisscross with the center cord, just like that. My left cord has come from the left side. Now take my right hand cord, the smaller cord, and go through it from the left, just like that. Tighten that up, and if you start the first knot on the right and left, and then you can continue doing the knots. So this one right here, once you have that secure, and then you can do whichever side you want, and then continue doing this units until the length of your bracelet. For the sliding knot we need 1 inch, so your wrist size minus 1 inch will give you the amount that you need, the length of this part, the knotted part that you need. So I'll finish it up and come back. So we have done the knots, and I went ahead and put some GS hypo cement over here and over here in the knots, because we are going to snip off the 2 cords here, and we are going to keep only 2 of the cords. So let me just wear this and see where I am, to kind of figure it out how tight or loose this can be. Yeah, we don't have much of space, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is snip this off. Take my lighter and burn it so it's nice and melted over there. Okay, just be very careful. In this also I'm going to do the same. I'm gonna separate 2 cords, doesn't matter which one it is. Maybe I take the shortest 2 strands and cut it. Just leaving a tiny bit over there so that you can melt it. There we go. So now this is what we have, and as I said, the core cord is a little bit longer for us, so you can very well take only 3 feet. That should be good enough. I took 4 feet, so I need to take these 2 and do my sliding knot here. I'm gonna take my knotty do it all, and then take all 4 cords and set it up so that I can do the sliding knots. And actually one of this cord, or I can take another one. Just take about say 8 to 10 inch of cord. That should be good enough for the sliding knot. Let's do the sliding knot now. There we go. So this is a square knot. You go underneath all the 4 cords. I start with the Q all the time. So I do that and then take this cord on top, underneath, through that loop. Now bring these two together and push this, put your finger down so that your knot comes out in the middle. So I don't want this knot to be very tight. Normally we do macrame square knots a little bit tight. I want this to be a little bit loose. You have 4 cords running through that sliding knot, and we don't want it to be extraordinarily tight. So tighten that up, but not very tight. That way it's easily adjustable, but at the same time it's smooth as well. But I normally tend to tighten this knot up and then have a great difficulty to move up and down. So that's why I'm saying this should not be tight. So I'm doing a couple of square knots. A square knot consists of Q's and P's. So this is a Q wherein you keep it like this and do it, and the following will be a P. You alternate it. So now the bump is on this side, so that's also an indication that you need to put your loop here. So this is a P on top, underneath, and go through the loop. So if you are not aware of the basic square knots, you can go ahead and watch my tutorial on basic macrame knots in my channel, so that you can get yourself familiarized with those knots. So I'm doing a little bit more. Normally just 3 knots should be sufficient to solve the purpose or serve the purpose, I would say. But if you want, you can always make a bigger one. It's totally up to you. It's not a compulsion. So finally one more knot and I'm done. The longer the cord you have, the easier for you to make it, but you might be wasting a little bit of cord over there. But I think this much knot is more than enough for my wrist size. So I snip this off, but not very close, just leaving a short tail to melt. So whenever you do that, there we go. This time you need to be very careful while you're melting the adjusting knot. It should not go out. That's the whole thing that's actually tying everything together. So we want that to be nice and secure. So if there is a small bit like this, just snip it off. Now we can take this off and take a look at the bracelet where we are. So now we slide it and check. There we go. Nice and smooth. So now there is 2 strands on both sides. So you can actually put a bead. Actually, you can melt the two ends and add the bead to the. That I find it very very comfortable rather than having four dangles. It's sometimes a little bit too much, I would say, because it's hard for you to put it on by yourself and take it off, and it tangles a lot and just creates a problem. So I melted the two cords together and added the bead to both the cords, and I don't want a long dangle. Also, sometimes it catches hold of something that I'm working with, so it's like a practical reason, so I'm just keeping this to be very short. There we go. That should be enough for me. So I'm just going to do the same here. Take the two cords and add a bead. These ends are melted, so I think I can take these inside. So I want to make a knot at the same point I did on the other side. So you can also take your pliers and then hold about, say, here, exactly where you want your knot to be. Okay, inside. I will turn it this way, so it's easier for me to do that. That's about there, right? So now you can tighten those up. Snip the extra cords here. There we go. So this is an extra that I will save for any sliding knot in the future. Even this cord I will save. Sometimes I just make a small tassel out of this. So it's a multicolor one, so you can use it. So this is our bracelet, and it's nice and easily sliding, and I really like the way this turned out to be. It highlights that frosted bead, at the same time it gives out a lot of color because of the variegated cord that we used. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification. I do upload videos couple of times a week. Thanks so much for watching. This is what I was talking about. It's easy to actually put it on if there is only one bead and you have to hold only one strand and put it on by yourself. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye bye.